You can spend top dollar on premium cat food, choose the perfect formula, read every ingredient label, and still end up feeding your cat nutrition that's already breaking down. Most cat owners have no idea that the way they store food can matter just as much as what's actually in the bag. I'm Stephen Whitlow, and I've spent 20 years working in pet nutrition, and I'm going to walk you through exactly how to keep your cat's food fresh, safe, and nutritionally complete from the moment you buy it until the very last meal. You're listening to the Pet Parent Podcast. Quick note before we jump in. Everything you're about to hear, all the research, the data, the actual script, that's written and verified by real people who know this stuff inside and out. The voice you're hearing, that's AI generated. Just wanted to be upfront about that from the start. Anyway, thanks for being here, especially those of you who've been listening episode after episode. It means a lot. And if this is your first time tuning in, really glad you found us. We drop new episodes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, covering all kinds of pet care topics, the practical stuff you can actually use. Today, we're talking about something that sounds boring but actually matters a ton: how you store your cat's food and why it can make or break the nutrition you're paying for. Let's get into it. This guide is for every cat owner, whether you're feeding a kitten their first solid meals or caring for a senior cat who needs every bit of nutrition they can get. We'll cover the practical stuff that actually makes a difference in your daily routine. Now, let's talk about storage containers, because the container you choose sets the foundation for everything else. You want an airtight seal with a gasket or locking mechanism. Look for containers with silicone gaskets or rubber seals that create a true barrier against air and moisture. A loose-fitting lid lets oxygen in, which degrades fats and makes kibble go rancid faster than you'd think. The material matters too. Go with BPA-free food-grade plastic, stainless steel, or glass construction. These materials won't leach chemicals into your cat's food, and they resist odor absorption better than standard plastics. Stainless steel is my top pick because it's nearly indestructible and doesn't hold smells. Size should match your purchase quantity. If you buy a 15-pound bag, get a container that holds 15 to 20 pounds. Too much empty space means more air exposure, while cramming food into a too small a container can crush kibble and create dust. Here's something people overlook. Get an opaque or UV-blocking material. Clear containers look nice on your counter, but light exposure breaks down vitamins A, D, and E, along with omega fatty acids. Opaque containers protect against this photodegradation. You also want a wide opening for easy scooping. Narrow openings force you to tilt or shake the container, which breaks kibble into smaller pieces and creates fine particles that oxidize quickly. If you're storing 20-plus pounds of food, look for wheels or handles. Mobility matters, and I've seen too many people strain their backs dragging heavy containers across kitchen floors. One more thing: a measuring cup clip or built-in scoop holder. Keeping your scoop attached to the container prevents cross-contamination from using it for other purposes and helps you maintain consistent portion sizes. When you're choosing which cat food formula to stock up on, think about storage from the start. The AAFCO guidelines ensure nutritional accuracy when the food is fresh, but improper storage undermines those standards. Moving on to location and environmental controls. Where you keep your cat's food affects its shelf life more than most people realize. You want a cool area between 50 and 70 degrees Fahrenheit. Heat accelerates fat oxidation and nutrient degradation. Storing food near your stove, dishwasher, or in a hot garage can cut freshness time in half. Keep it away from direct sunlight and heat sources. Even if your container is opaque, ambient heat from nearby appliances or sun-warmed walls raises the internal temperature and creates condensation when temperatures fluctuate. You need a low humidity environment, below 60% relative humidity. Moisture is the enemy of dry cat food. It causes mold growth, clumping, and makes kibble soft and unappealing. Basements and laundry rooms are usually too humid unless you run a dehumidifier. Keep containers elevated off the floor. Ground-level storage exposes food to temperature swings, potential pest access, and cleaning product splashes. Keep containers at least 6 inches off the floor on a shelf or pallet. Store cat food separate from household chemicals. Cat food absorbs odors from nearby cleaners, pesticides, and automotive products through container seams. Store in a dedicated pantry or cabinet, away from anything with strong chemical smells. And stick to climate-controlled indoor spaces. Garages, sheds, and porches experience extreme temperature swings that create condensation inside containers and dramatically shorten shelf life. These principles apply whether you're feeding dry kibble or stocking up on wet food. Environmental control matters for both formats. Let's get into dry food-specific guidelines, because kibble has unique storage needs that many cat owners overlook. Here's something important. Keep food in the original bag inside your storage container. The bag's inner lining provides an extra barrier against oxygen and moisture. Pouring kibble directly into a container exposes it to residual oils from previous bags that can go rancid. Before placing the bag in your container, fold the bag top tightly and secure it with a clip. Squeeze out as much air as possible, fold the top 3 times, and secure with a large binder clip or bag clip. Use the food within 4 to 6 weeks of opening. Once you break the factory seal, oxidation begins. Even perfectly stored kibble loses nutritional value and palatability after 6 weeks. Buy sizes your cat will finish in this time frame. Check for a rancid smell weekly. Fresh kibble has a mild, grain-like smell. If you notice a strong, paint-like odor, or your cat suddenly refuses food they normally eat, fats have oxidized and the food should be discarded. Avoid extreme-size bags unless you have multiple cats. Those 30-pound economy bags seem cost-effective, but if you have 1 or 2 cats, the last third of the bag will be stale before you reach it. Smaller bags cost more per pound, but maintain better quality. Wipe the container interior between bags. Before adding a new bag, empty any remaining kibble dust, wash the container with mild soap, rinse thoroughly, and dry completely. This prevents old oils from contaminating fresh food. Record the open date on the bag or container. Write the date you opened the bag with a permanent marker. This simple step prevents you from keeping food past its prime freshness window. Understanding essential nutrients in cat food helps you appreciate why storage matters. Proteins, fats, and vitamins are all vulnerable to degradation when exposed to air, light, and heat. Now for wet food storage protocols. Canned and pouch food requires different handling than dry kibble. Store unopened cans in a cool, dry pantry. Intact cans are shelf-stable for years when kept at room temperature, away from heat sources. Check the best-by date and rotate stock so you use oldest cans first. Refrigerate opened cans immediately. Transfer unused portions to an airtight container and refrigerate within 30 minutes. Wet food left at room temperature becomes a bacterial breeding ground after 2 hours. Use glass or BPA-free plastic storage for leftovers. Don't leave wet food in the opened can. The exposed metal surface can affect taste and potentially transfer metallic compounds. Glass containers with snap-on lids work perfectly. Use refrigerated portions within 3 to 5 days. Mark the container with the date you opened the can. Wet food loses palatability and develops off odors after 5 days, even when properly refrigerated. Bring food to room temperature before serving. Cold food from the fridge can upset sensitive cat stomachs and reduces aroma. Let refrigerated portions sit out for 15 to 20 minutes or add a tablespoon of warm water. Check can integrity before opening. Dented, bulging, or rusty cans may have compromised seals that allow bacterial contamination. When in doubt, throw it out. Store pouches upright in shallow bins. Pouches can develop leaks if stacked haphazardly. Keep them upright in a container that prevents them from falling over and potentially puncturing. When you're comparing wet versus dry food for your cat, factor in the storage differences. Wet food requires more refrigerator space and daily handling, while dry food needs proper containers and environmental control. Let's talk about safety and quality monitoring. Regular checks catch problems before they affect your cat's health. Inspect for insects, webbing, or larvae. Pantry moths, weevils, and other pests can infest dry cat food. Check corners and seams monthly for tiny moths, webbing, or moving specks. If you spot any, discard the entire bag immediately. Feel for clumping, moisture, or texture changes. Kibble should flow freely and feel dry. Sticky clumps, soft pieces, or moisture in the bag indicate humidity exposure and potential mold growth. Verify best buy dates at purchase and before feeding. Don't buy bags that expire within 6 to 8 weeks unless you have multiple cats who will finish it quickly. Check dates on your current supply monthly. Watch for color fading or unusual discoloration. Kibble that's turned pale, developed dark spots, or looks different from fresh food may have oxidized fats or mold growth. Monitor your cat's eating behavior. Sudden food refusal, eating less than normal, or picking through their bowl can signal that the food has gone off. Cats have more sensitive smell than we do and detect rancidity before we notice it. Clean food bowls daily with hot soapy water. Residual oils from wet food or kibble turn rancid in bowls and can spoil fresh food. Use separate bowls for wet and dry food if you feed both. Replace storage containers every 2 to 3 years. Even with regular cleaning, food oils saturate plastic containers over time and eventually go rancid. Stainless steel lasts longer, but check gaskets and seals annually. Photograph or keep packaging for ingredient reference. If your cat has a reaction or the formula changes, having the original packaging helps your veterinarian and the manufacturer identify potential issues. Snap a photo of the ingredient panel and production codes before recycling. This monitoring approach works for any feeding strategy, including when you're transitioning between foods. Watch for changes in your cat's response to the food throughout the bag. Now for purchase and rotation strategies. Smart buying habits extend freshness before you even open the bag. Buy quantities your cat consumes in 4 to 6 weeks. Calculate your cat's daily intake and choose bag sizes accordingly. A 10-pound adult cat eating half a cup daily needs about 12 to 15 pounds per month, accounting for feeding variations. Check manufacturing date codes, not just best buy dates. Production dates are usually stamped or printed near the expiration date. Fresher is better, so choose bags manufactured most recently. Rotate stock using a first-in, first-out method. When you buy new bags, move older stock to the front. This prevents accidentally keeping food past its prime while newer bags sit unused. Purchase from high-turnover retailers. Stores that sell lots of cat food rotate inventory faster. Small pet shops or low-traffic stores may have bags sitting on shelves for months. Inspect bags for tears, holes, or compromised seals before buying. A small puncture you don't notice at checkout lets air in and starts the oxidation clock. Check seams and corners carefully. Consider smaller bags for variety feeding. If you rotate between formulas to provide dietary variety, a strategy some veterinary nutritionists recommend, buy 3 to 5 pound bags of each. This keeps all formulas fresher than opening multiple large bags simultaneously. When you're deciding between grain-free and grain-inclusive formulas, factor in storage time. Some grain-free foods with higher fat content may have shorter optimal freshness windows than grain-inclusive formulas. Here's your cat food storage checklist in quick reference format. Run through these points monthly. For container setup, make sure you have an airtight seal with an intact gasket, BPA-free food-grade material, the correct size for your purchase quantity, opaque or UV-blocking construction, and a clean interior with no residual oils. For storage location, check the temperature stays between 50 and 70 degrees, there's no direct sunlight exposure, humidity stays below 60%, the container is elevated off the floor, and it's away from chemicals and heat sources. For dry food management, keep the original bag inside the container. Make sure the bag top is folded and clipped. Record the open date. Confirm you'll use it within 4 to 6 weeks and check for rancid smell or texture changes. For wet food handling, keep unopened cans in a cool pantry. Put opened portions in airtight containers. Refrigerate within 30 minutes, use within 3 to 5 days, and warm to room temperature before serving. For quality monitoring, watch for pests, webbing, or insects. Check for clumping or moisture in dry food. Verify best by dates. Make sure your cat is eating normally, and clean bowls daily. Understanding how to read cat food labels helps you make informed choices at the store, but proper storage ensures those quality ingredients actually reach your cat in optimal condition. Let's cover some frequently asked questions. How long can cat food stay fresh in an opened bag? Dry cat food maintains optimal freshness for 4 to 6 weeks after opening the bag, provided you store it in an airtight container in a cool, dry location away from heat and light. Beyond 6 weeks, fats begin to oxidize noticeably, vitamins degrade, and palatability decreases even when the food appears fine. For wet food, unopened cans or pouches remain shelf-stable until the best-by date, but once opened, you must refrigerate unused portions in an airtight container and use them within 3 to 5 days for safety and quality. Can I freeze cat food to extend its shelf life? You can freeze wet cat food in airtight containers or freezer bags for up to 3 to 4 months, which works well if you buy in bulk or your cat doesn't finish portions. Thaw frozen wet food overnight in the refrigerator and use within 24 hours after thawing. Freezing dry cat food is not recommended because the freeze-thaw cycle creates condensation that introduces moisture into the kibble, promoting mold growth and texture degradation. Proper dry storage in airtight containers at room temperature is more effective for kibble. What's the best way to tell if cat food has gone bad? Fresh cat food should have a mild, grain-like smell for kibble or a meaty aroma for wet food. If you notice a sharp, paint-like or sour smell, the fats have oxidized or bacterial growth has begun, and you should discard the food immediately. Visual signs include mold, which looks like fuzzy spots in any color, unusual discoloration, moisture or clumping in dry food, or separation and film development in wet food. Behavioral cues like your cat suddenly refusing food they normally eat often indicate spoilage before human senses detect it. Storage might not seem as exciting as picking the perfect formula or shopping for new bowls, but it's the bridge between buying quality nutrition and actually delivering it to your cat. I've worked with enough pet owners to know that the small details add up. The right container, the cool storage spot, the weekly smell check, these things create real health benefits over your cat's lifetime. Your cat food storage checklist doesn't have to be complicated. Start with a good airtight container, find a cool spot away from heat and light, and pay attention to how your cat responds to their food throughout each bag. Those 3 things alone will put you ahead of most cat owners. The cats I've known over the years, including my own, have taught me that they notice quality. They might not be able to tell you when food's gone a bit stale, but they'll show you by eating less or walking away from their bowl. Give them the fresh, nutritionally complete meals they deserve by putting these storage practices into place starting today. That wraps up this episode of the Pet Parent Podcast. Thanks for listening all the way through. We'll be back with another episode on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, so you've always got something new coming your way. If this one helped you out, it'd mean the world if you could leave us a 5-star rating and write a quick review. That's genuinely how other people find the show, and it helps us reach more pet parents who could use this kind of information. And if you haven't already, go ahead and hit subscribe or follow so you get a notification the second a new episode drops. See you next time!